Trinidad, Port of Spain. I'm in, it's the day after independence, so I'm in a steel pan jamboree, a steel pan event taking place right down Port of Spain. So I'm in Woodbrook Playboys Pan Yard, and I'm here now with a good friend, Mr. Gerard Clarke. Mr. Gerard Clarke is a pan tuner. So Gerard, how you doing? I want to thank you first of all for just taking the time off to having some talk. So maybe you could speak about yourself, what you do, and where you live, and some information about you.
Yeah, well, I was born in Port of Spain, Boat Street, not far from where we are. And I got involved in steel band from an early age of 14. Actually, steel band was on my street at number 10 Boat Street in a gateway. Then I moved to Woodbrook, Arepita Avenue, Starliff and Invaders were nearby. I got involved with Starliff, 1964 to be exact. And played pan, tried arranging, didn't do too badly at it. Attempted tuning, gave it up, and in 1982 decided I wanted to go back at it. And through a very good friend of mine, Herman Guppy Brown, popular name known worldwide, I was able to get all the help I needed in 5 years to be able to, if I may say, graduate as a tuner. When he told me that I was good enough to go out there on my own. So I ventured out on my own, part-time, because I was working at Unilever and couldn't give up my job as yet. But after 33 years, I was able to give the job up and go full-time into the pan as a tuner.
So how long have you been doing pan tuning and itself as a profession full-time now?
Well, full-time from 2001. But from 1982 to 2000, I was doing it on the side after work, public holidays, weekends. Getting opportunities to go to Canada. And I started to get more opportunities when I retired by going to England for the last 9 years. I've been 10 visits in 9 years. And I've been visiting Canada every year since 1994. Tuning pans. I've been to Miami, to Brazil, to Grenada, to Barbados, to other places I can't remember all right now.
Great. So let me just get directly to the question of why I'm doing this. As I mentioned to you before, I'm doing my thesis. I'm doing my master's at York University, and as such, I just came back to Trinidad here now to do some interviews to tie Trinidad into a topic that I'm working on. The topic I'm working on is pan in the diaspora, an overview of steel pan development in Canada's two major cities, Montreal and Toronto. How I want to tie Trinidad in now, it's not just from its history, pan was invented in Trinidad, blah, 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 blah. I want to tie Trinidad in now by interviewing people like yourself, people in all aspects of the pan in Trinidad, from education to business to pan tuning to managing to performance and everything. So you being a pan tuner and you being someone who has been traveling, as you mentioned, to so many different countries. So this should fall easily into the question that I'm asking for to tie this in, which is, how has steel pan development abroad impacted or is impacting steel pan development here in Trinidad from whatever angle, whatever aspect?
Well, that question I will answer in two ways. There are countries where it's impacting on the business in Trinidad, and there are countries where it is not really, in that foreign exchange is causing a lot of the foreigners to still purchase the pans in Trinidad. Because when you get a US or Canadian dollar changing at 6 to 1, or you get a pound sterling changing at almost $10, the people can buy pans here at our prices, have them shipped to America, to wherever, and still cost less than if they were to buy it in the country where they are. However, the countries are trying their hands, especially the USA, where more and more people are developing the tuning aspect. I understand they're not going into too much of the making aspect, which is bad, because you can't tune a pan properly if you don't understand the making aspect of it. But there are people out there like Panland in Ohio. They sell pans very expensive, but they are doing a lot of business, and Americans are supporting Americans with this. We have had an instance where pan tuners were sent back to Trinidad because the American Pan Tuners Guild said, we have people here, we don't need them to come here. So
that's expected from
you're
America.
getting the impacting of some places are doing it and supporting their own, but you still have those in that country that realize the price I could pay for a good pan in Trinidad is plenty less than what I pay in America. I could probably get 2 or 3 for the price of 1 year. So they still come to Trinidad.
Okay.
So it hasn't really killed the business, but it's growing gradually, and maybe one day it will.
Okay. So you think, okay, that's a good point, because, but don't you think then that too, because now it is being spread abroad and is becoming more known, then that it creates more opportunities for even people like you, because let's face it, it's still, there is not enough pan tuners, probably not even enough pan tuners in Trinidad, you know?
Yeah, well, you see, you don't have that many pan tuners in Trinidad, but there are young people who are now trying to get into it.
Okay.
But what we try to let them know is, you don't become a pan tuner in a year. It's about a 5-year process, because you got to go through the first stage to the last. Some people just want you to teach me how to tune the pan to blend it. But you can't blend it properly if you can't make it. But abroad, there are opportunities in that pans are going out there, but they don't have as many tuners out there with the quality and ability that we have down here.
Okay.
So they can send for you from Trinidad.
Okay.
You can charge a decent wage, and it's still less than what they will charge up there.
Okay, so that's a good point of an impact, in that you as a pan tuner, right? Even though they are now having pan tuners abroad, there's a difference with just making a pan and blending, which is tuning up.
Yes.
Tuning up a pan and giving it an overall blend up. And you are saying then that, therefore, then that there's a lot of opportunity now for people like yourself who are capable and who can go and actually fulfill this obligation of. Okay, so that's a great impact.
Yes, it is.
So the more it happens out there, in terms of the more the pan becomes popular and spreads and grows,
let me give you an example.
It's going to be more work for people like you.
There's a lot of virgin territory out there still.
Okay.
I went to Woodbine Racetrack when I was in Canada. And when I sat there, 2 American ladies sat next to me. And the lady started to talk to me. What do you do? I said, I tune pans. What's a pan? I said, a steel drum. And I explained. She said, I've never seen or heard of that thing.
Okay.
She pulled out a phone with a computer. And I said, Google Trinidad All Stars. And she said, hey, there's some guys beating some drums here. And look at it. So, and right away, she became an American who for the first time was seeing steel drums being played. You know, and there are lots of places in America don't even know what that is.
Right.
So there is the opportunity for pan tuners out there.
Okay.
But when most people want to focus on are going New York and are going Miami, where you got a lot of people, if you go outward of that, you'll be surprised to know what there is out there. So there's room, but you see, the problem we have here, I think pan tuners cannot market themselves and their skill properly to get out there. Okay. That's the problem.
Well, good. But you've raised some good points here, as far as pan tuning and how it's affecting your industry in itself. But and I think some of the points you raised is very positive. So that means there's an opportunity for more growth.
There is.
There is a lot.
There are lots of virgin territory out there. I'm talking about USA. You would think that because pan is in America, in Brooklyn, in New York, in Miami, Boston, and Maryland, and it's all over the United States. That place in the United States never see pan.
Okay.
They don't know what it is.
Right.
So there are places you can still market the product.
Okay.
A lot of places in China, Japan, right? When I took pan to Brazil, I went as a player. The people couldn't believe that what I was playing was some drum that used to have oil. And then I brought 2 pans with me and I sold them the next day. The people wanted it.
Right.
You know, now Brazil has steel band.
Right.
You know. So we need to get the organization here to market the pan out there. They're focusing on Nigeria right now.
Right.
And globally, we ain't marketing as well as we should. Globally. We're focusing on certain places.
Well, what would you think? Well, this brings me to a question then that I could probably just ask you to get a feedback. And of course, it's politics. right? I'll just tell you, I'm proactive with that in that I'm pushing to get like steel pans in all institutions of learning on an equivalent basis as that of string ensembles and wind ensembles. The reason too is simply because the pan, like string ensembles and wind ensembles, has a complete family of instruments. Okay, so from bass to soprano. So I think then that if we were to get pans in all institutions of learning in that equivalent way, I mean that's a big push to try to get that to happen. But it involves a lot of marketing, a lot of strategy to make that happen. But with that to happen, we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes.
And Trinidad is still in the game, as you rightly said, because pans, as some people are selling pans like in Ohio, 8,000 US dollars for a double second.
Yeah.
Right? Which is
$48,000 a year.
Yeah, exactly. So now there's a problem.
I could give you 7 double second for that money.
So you see, so that in itself now, it's Trinidad is in the game then.
I could give you 7 double second.
Will something like that to happen in a big way, and there's such a big market, Trinidad is still in the game.
Yes.
Right? So this brings me to my question of politics. Do you think then that because of how it is here in Trinidad, I always say it again, Trinidadians are the biggest lovers of pan and the biggest haters of pan at the same time, so it squashes off, means there's no growth, there's no backward, no forward, everything is just right there. And this is not so good. So my question is, what do you think about a ministry exclusively for the steel pan?
I think it's a very good idea, because if that ministry is set up, then I could see you don't have to send a complete band of 30 people. You could send first of all an ensemble of about 6, 8, 10 fellas, or players, I would say for a woman playing too. And you could go in about 10 countries with 60 pan players, advertise the product, talk and market the product, and you will get people wanting to be part of it, musicians. I work in schools in England. Some of them didn't have pans, and when I did workshop, they started to incorporate pan in the school program.
Okay.
Some people didn't realize that this thing could play this and play that. And when they see the group playing, and they're hearing bass, and they're hearing soprano, and they're hearing guitar and cello, they get amazed. And and even in the UK, there are parts of England that don't even know pan, and you have panorama in England.
Right.
And you have places in England that don't even know what pan is. They feel it's a coconut tree business, a man with a straw hat, and he could play Caribbean music and nice it. But when I go on their computer and say, listen to this band playing so and so classic from Mozart, from Beethoven, from Bach, I say, look, panorama, 120 people on the stage, and they mesmerized. They can't believe that what steel band is.
Yeah.
But for them, when they see a steel band, they saw 9 people in a corner somewhere.
Right.
So a ministry for pan is the best thing to market the product globally.
Okay.
Not in Brooklyn and in Boston and in Miami where people know about it already.
Right.
We have a lot of virgin territory.
Exactly. I agree with that, because I think it's probably the only way. But what do you think about, is there an appetite for anything like that? Can you foresee in the near future any kind of appetite for that, being a Trinidadian, knowing the political climate, how there's a lot of division, there's a lot of people might even go so far as simply to say it's pure racism and all kinds of stuff. And this instrument in itself is viewed as being bought from a particular type of race that invented this. So do you think there could be a big problem, and not seeing the bigger picture of what we just spoke about? Pan in all institutions of learning, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, maybe worth even more than oil.
That I ain't agreeing with, because I've heard certain steel band men say pan can make more money than oil. And I went into the figures of what oil makes for this country on a daily basis.
Okay.
And pan might make that in a year, what oil make it for this country in a day. So that I ain't buying. Make more money than oil.
Okay.
But I know that there isn't the appetite, as you mentioned, for the want of marketing this product outside. They see it as seasonal. Panorama Carnival time, Independence, you have something.
All the more, don't you agree then that a ministry where it could be a year-round activity
It's a year
with its own budget,
its own budget,
its own resources.
and marketing the product out there. But when you have it under the Ministry of Culture,
Yeah.
and culture incorporates many other aspects. Pan is one of the least,
Yes.
and is the one that generates the most.
Exactly.
You know,
So-
people see Pan as Carnival coming, give them some money.
Yeah.
Carnival finishes Lent, no Pan.
Right.
Look, something coming up for independence, so we got something. That's how it is here.
Okay.
And people outside are more enthusiastic about Pan than we are in Trinidad.
I think I would agree with that simply because you have evidence of it on the internet and all that kind of stuff and the interest and
Can you
the enthusiasm.
imagine if you go on the internet now and when Steel talks, Iowa University is lecturing and talking about how Pan is made and going through the different steps and showing you. All they say, this instrument was invented in Trinidad and Tobago, full stop.
That's it.
And then they take over and you would feel it's Iowa showing the world how to make Pan.
Yeah.
Or America.
And all of this probably is good that this is coming up because these are some of the arguments that can be placed when the appeal for a ministry exclusive for the Pan is probably made. So that these are some of the things that could be pointed out.
Now,
where we should be in the leading front in taking care of this instrument and giving those demonstrations that is already taken up by a lot of
this
different
thing
people.
about a ministry, it falling on deaf ears, it falling on people who hardly have the interest. You gotta have people who thirsty and hungry for it, and people who know that they can work it. But if you're depending on a government, and I'm saying any government, whether it's PNM, UNC, partnership, whoever is the government, they always have it as something that we have there,
Yeah.
and they don't have it as something that could earn a livelihood for many.
Right.
We're
Well,
suffering for young people to learn to make pans. Pan tuners today can't make pan. 18 years I sink and groove pan. But with the kind of work you have to do to tune pans, you can't be no pan sinker and pan groover today. You gotta hire people, and some are getting some kind of work and some kind of work ethics. And we need more people because it's a business, but some guys say, I ain't able to that hard work. So you must have a passion for it.
right. But I think also too the fact that because of it being spread abroad and so many different opportunities are arising that eventually Trinidad is going to have to play catch up and realize that hello, other people really love this instrument and they really want to do something and they are doing things and they're becoming millionaires out there. So that's when probably Trinidad is going to wake up and
They show
realize.
more love for the pan than us.
Yeah.
They have more updated equipment for the production of the pan, and they have more experiments exposed to them to get new things done.
So this is going to affect Trinidad
Yeah,
eventually because then you're going to have to look and see
If
what
you look
they're
at
doing.
it right now, if it continues on the trend right now, we will be known as the place where it started,
Okay,
but not
I
the
hear you.
place where it has developed.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
We'll be known as the place that started down there.
Again, more argument for the need for ministry.
Yeah, but
Again, more argument.
if you have a ministry, you must make sure the people can run it in the efficient manner that it needs to be run. Because that ministry ain't gonna be easy to run. You know, it's a whole marketing strategy. It's a whole advertisement strategy.
Yeah.
You're gonna be sent the money you have to spend to send global ensembles globally. I sent pan to a fella who living in Iran. You know what happened when he reached? They look at this big round silver thing. I want to charge him man $10,000 duty because it's a piece of jewelry he bring here. I had to send information. It's a steel drum that coated for right.
This
Iran
is
never see,
Iran, right? They
Iran never see a pan.
Right.
They want to charge him man $10,000 duty for bringing this big piece of jewelry in the country.
Interesting.
So a place like Iran, they have so many other places. They don't even know what steel band is.
Yeah.
And some people who know what it is, they know what it is with a single pan and a single bass. They know not about 6 bass. 3 men in a corner, that's where they know steel band to be.
Right.
The real orchestral steel band, they don't know.
Okay.
And this is where the ministry comes in. And I talk about the Ministry of Culture.
Yeah. The
The
ministry.
Ministry of Culture can't handle steel band
No. I
because
agree.
they have calypso, they have other things,
Mass,
they have
parang,
they have
chutney.
parang, they have all kind of things. You need a ministry for pan,
Exclusively.
and it can make money.
Yes.
And how it will start making money, you have to spend the money to bring back the money.
Yeah.
You have to establish. Look at Nigeria. All kind of people doing to make pan in Nigeria. Every day they're talking about tuners to come up there and all this kind of thing. waiting up eventually up there. Right? They're going to get it.
Yeah.
They're going to get it. Japan trying, China trying.
Yeah.
Several countries trying.
But when these countries get
Do
it,
you know,
everything is made in China today.
2 Swiss pan tuners came here and had a workshop for Trinidad tuners. You ever hear about that? 2 Swiss pan tuners from Switzerland had a workshop in what is now Capital Plaza with a then Holiday Inn. And when I went to that workshop, these fellas were teaching us things about what they're doing with pan that we didn't know. I forget the fella name from a place called Burn.
Okay. But that's expected, eh? Because it's no longer just an art, it's science.
Yeah.
And these people, they have the technology,
You know what,
they
Jesse?
have the resources,
They
they
have
have
what
the
it
know-how,
takes.
they have the passion, and they want to do it.
They
So
have what
there's
it
nothing to
takes
stop them.
develop, and that's what it takes to develop. We don't have it here. How much research really going on here?
Exactly.
A little corner in UE with 2 fellas and nothing really happening. And as I say, we're going to be known as the place where it started. That
Okay.
little island down in the corner here is where this thing started. But the way it could escalate, maybe after our time on this earth born,
Yeah.
the way it could escalate, Trinidad would be left behind.
Yeah.
I am seeing that.
Unless some drastic things like a ministry
Yeah.
as one of the main things
Who pushing
that
for a
could-
ministry and who could get any government to have a ministry only for pan?
See, this is it. But it
How
has
do
to
we
be
get-
done.
How do we get
How
them
do you
to
get from this
understand
point? Exactly.
That is the
Exactly. Well, my simple contribution is to start writing about it,
Yes.
start putting it down on paper,
Yes.
start putting out a blueprint, and start using it in the form of, okay, what is the Ministry of Education? What is the Ministry of Health? What constitutes this? What makes this up? Why do you need this ministry? And apply that same set of questioning to the PAN and get the answers for it. And once you have all these set of documentation down, then you can make a case to present something.
Yes.
So that's a little task, but it's a worthy
A
task.
ministry for pan alone is needed.
It's needed.
It mightn't sound like it's enough, but it could be too much if you do it the right way.
Yeah.
I know that.
So I respect that, and I thank you for the this short little conversation. It was very informative. And anything else you want to?
Well, I just want to see pan keep going forward. I want to see more professionalism in the profession, because I am one that's very outspoken among pan tuners, and maybe I'm not too liked for it. But one of the reasons that is killing the Trinidadian pan tuners is their lack of professionalism. Right? I want to use that word, but not go into the details of what comes under professionalism. Right? There is something called on time and in full. You must deliver proper product on time, properly, and not just all kind of people looking for you because they pay you money and I can't get my pan and I can't find the man and all that kind of thing. We need professionalism in the profession.
Right. All right. So Gerard, thanks again,
right.
and all the very best.
Okay.
This is great. Thank
I
you.
wish you all the best in your future endeavors. But I
Thank
know
you.
you are one of the fighters for this pan to be, you have given up a lot in your life to make it into a living. And you're going with it and keep going with it.
Thank you.
You're going to get your results. I know you'll get your
Thank you, man.